Hello and welcome to another episode of All Things Money. I'm your host Fatima Tawala, and my guest today is not from here. My guest is Nurkan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Is Nurkan. He's a global director of dark skirs of Indrive. Now, at the time of the shooting, Indrive is almost on the verge of starting the process rather of becoming a super app. So, as we speak, CraveMart is about to transition onto the Indrive's app as to the start of this journey, and the discussion today will focus on how Indrive intends to address the challenge of quick commerce in Pakistan, because there have been many before Indrive that have not been successful, and while there's a very big pie that needs to be tapped, it's not a pie that can be tapped easily. Hi Nurkan, I hope I get your name well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So as we speak, Indrive is becoming a super app. It's being rolled out in 48 countries, of which Pakistan is among the first. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, Pakistan is definitely among the first. So to be honest, it's like second country where we're doing it. And I think last year we invested in 2 companies in grocery space. This year we've been working on integration. First we started rolling out the service in Kazakhstan, and now we are doing it in Pakistan. So I would say our investment and partnership with grocery companies is a catalyst for us to become a super app. I couldn't say it's the only thing we're planning to do, but I would say it's a first step in a journey of many thousands of steps to build and truly become a super app.
So why Pakistan? Right now we have companies leaving Pakistan. P&G just announced its exit at the time of the shooting. So why are you rolling out in Pakistan among the first of your 48 countries that you're in?
So I think just to give you maybe some context and background behind this decision. So first, before we did actually an investment and had portfolio companies we invested in certain markets, we prioritized I think markets based on 2 major criteria. First, the market should be big, because you know how it works in different business models. If you choose a small market, you'll end up a small player. So market needs to be big enough. Opportunity needs to be big enough to choose, to focus on. The second criteria was our market positions, how we're perceived in this certain market, do have a strong presence, do customers love us, etc. Because sometimes when I was searching for great companies around the world, we operate across 48 countries. So I was traveling to LATAM, MENA region, South Asia, Southeast Asia, and in all these markets, for example, I come to certain markets and talk to people, to local startup community, and if I come to the market where Indrive is small or don't have a strong presence, people say, Indrive? Who are you guys? I don't know you. And I started explaining, etc., etc. When I come to markets like Pakistan, people are like, Indrive? Yeah, we know Indrive.
Yeah.
Because you know when you are big enough and a strong player and have a good, I would say, solid brand, people know you. It's much easier to communicate, to build connections, because startups and companies also trying to figure out what we could potentially do, what synergies we can achieve, what partnerships we can make. So it's much easier. So I think through these 2 lenses, big market and Indrive's strong presence, these are the lenses we looked through. This is how I think we decided to focus on Pakistan. And the third lens was whether we will be able to find a really, I would say, solid companies here with the good fundamentals. To be honest, I was surprised when I first came to Pakistan. I had such a, I would say, people here is so welcoming. I think I've met almost with all startups in Karachi, in Islamabad, and I wasn't able to go to Lahore, but a lot of people, startup founders, basically drive from Lahore to Islamabad to meet with me. We spend many hours, and I think these are 3 lenses I think we looked at. And since we started focusing on grocery specifically, we assessed, I would say, hundreds of companies we were like deep diving into like certain amount, like I would say tens of companies, etc. And out of them, CraveMart was a company with one of the most solid fundamentals, because we're looking at fundamentals, especially in this type of business, because it's very heavily operational business when like thousands of people moving around the city delivering like real physical goods. So it's not easy, and I'm glad we found this company. So I think this is why we decided to specifically focus on Pakistan. And another point was that grocery business in Pakistan still has a huge potential to grow. Online grocery penetration is still very low. So we see that there is a huge potential for this business to grow further, leveraging, I would say, strong Indrive's network, our user base, our expertise in certain things, in technology, etc., etc. So I think this is why we overall decided to focus on Pakistan.
So what's the model? Do you own CraveMart now, or is it a collaboration, a partnership?
So we are like in Indrive, we have a corporate venture division, right? Corporate venture arm. And corporate venture arm, it's slightly different from classic VC firms, because classic VC firm, they usually invest certain amount of money into a company, and they basically, let's say, invest at a valuation of $1 and exit at a valuation of $10. So they earn some money and it's okay for them. We as Indrive, we don't have a like pure financial goals when we make an investment. When we make an investment, we're looking eventually to integrate the company into Indrive, to diversify our business and create a new revenue stream. This is like a long-term view. So this is how usually corporate venture firms operate, corporate venture arms of bigger corporations, like of bigger companies like Indrive.
Right. And what is CraveMart's presence currently in Pakistan?
CraveMart operates across 3 cities. So it's, not even, yeah, I mean, if you consider Rawalpindi and Islamabad, which are twin cities, as one. So it's basically Karachi, Rawalpindi, and Lahore. And Lahore. So these three cities. I mean, if you also combine like Pindi and
so Islamabad, Pindi is like
Pindi and Islamabad. Yeah. So in these 3 cities, I think Crave journey was quite interesting. When they launched back in 2021, they like opened like many stores in Karachi, then like started growing the business, growing the number of orders, etc., etc. I think the next year like they opened Lahore and Pindi, but we mutually agreed with them that we will not focus a lot on Lahore and Pindi for now, until we build integration, etc. And only after, I think, we'll focus more on Lahore, Pindi, and Islamabad. These are the plans for 2026. So this year, team was mostly focusing on Karachi. So I would say 90+% of Crave's business right now in Karachi, because it's been the major focus. Not to, to spread the whole effort, because resources are limited. We needed to focus the team to build a successful business case first here. And when it's done, and it's actually done, we can gradually scale to other cities, again leveraging Indrive's user base.
So Karachi is not an easy city to operate in. We have a lot of security concerns, we have broken roads, we flood very easily, we have very impatient people as well. And we are very big. It's geographically, Karachi is a huge city. So these are many challenges for a quick commerce company, and how do you plan to address them?
I think, we as Indrive, right, we had like 2 approaches when actually looking at grocery business, right? The first approach was, I think even like back in 2022, when I joined the company, Indrive's position was, we don't need to invest in companies or acquire the companies, etc. We need to build everything ourselves. We're going to build everything ourselves. This is the first, I would say, point of view. And then we tried, and it wasn't that easy, because I'm coming from startup world myself. I've been launching and building businesses for like the first 10 years of my career before I joined Indrive. So I understood that the issues will be like having the right people and also right environment, right resources for them to build startups, right? And usually it takes up to 5 to 6 years just to figure out the business model, to find the product market fit, right? Enough resources, right team, etc. And only then you start scaling. At a certain point of time, I think we discussed this with the founder of Indrive, and we said like, maybe the best way will be not to try to build everything ourselves. The best way will be to find solid teams which have done their like homework, which have went through this, I would say, valley of death for startups. First 5 years, survived, strong company with strong fundamentals, and then come in, give them resources, right expertise, etc., to accelerate their growth. This is how we reached out Crave. So when you talk about operational challenges in Karachi, I would say there are pros and cons, right? It's definitely a huge city, huge market with a huge potential. At the same time, there are like certain, I would say, operational difficulties and challenges. But our major bet is a team, because I think the team you can gather for the specific goal is the company you will eventually build. And I think Cravemart has a very strong operational fundamentals, because most of their team, they worked in big companies like Daraz, Foodpanda, big, I would say, FMCG companies, etc. Very, very experienced team. So I think this is our major bet. And all challenges you mentioned, I mean, you can't solve them at once, just like one by one. I mean, they're coming out with different ideas. I think overall, if to narrow all the challenges down to one thing, it's about, I would say, sustainable growth profitably, understanding the fundamentals of the business model, knowing what levers to focus on to grow the business, at the same time not to do blitz scaling, burning a lot of money, which is, I would say, not in Indrive's DNA. Indrive is like historically very lean. You know, one of the first interesting, I would say, things I've encountered when I first visited Karachi, I came to Pakistan, I met with some of the Indrive team, and we're like meeting somewhere, I think at the cafe or something, and talking to each other. I was like, guys, do you have an office here? They're like, no, we don't have an office. I was like, cool. I mean, Pakistan is a huge country. We're like a big player here, working on it. But Indrive also, I mean, right now we have an office, etc., etc. But back then, this is, I think, reflects how lean Indrive actually is, right? People are like, they're working from home, etc. on certain things.
Was that during the pandemic?
Huh?
Like
No, it wasn't pandemic. I came, I think, at the beginning of 2023.
Oh wow, so that is quite recent.
Yeah, it was not super long ago, right? So I was like, that's really cool, right? How we approach things. So Indrive is very lean, and we're trying to implement the same DNA to Cravemart, and Cravemart actually is very lean also, because they're just like different business models. For example, Indrive as a business model is, I would say, asset light, capital light, right? Because you don't have to build like dark stores. I would say put a lot of inventory inside, invest in, I don't know,
cold storage, for example.
Cold storage, etc., etc.
You don't own the cars.
You don't have to do it, right? So Indrive, like more of asset light. If you launch a city, you need much less capital to launch a city. For Crave, eventually, it's I would say capital intensive business. There is like a certain amount of money you need to invest in a dark store and keep investing for the time frame, I would say, from 12 to 24 months until the dark store becomes profitable. So if you dissect the whole business model, it's basically, I don't know, let's say Crave has 23 dark stores. It's like 23 business units. And you have to look at each business unit's profitability separately. Time frame, when it launched, how long will it take, how many orders do we need to get in this specific area, in this specific location, how NPS and retention looks for this specific dark store. And I think the good thing is Crave is a team which is looking at this level of details. And many of the, I would say, dark store companies globally didn't survive the venture winter, right? When like, with like lack of capital, etc. And they think what makes Crave team very resilient, they manage it to survive and strengthen the business even in the situation with the lack of capital. And I think this was also like one of the major reasons why we believed in the team, in like 4 co-founders, Kasim, Hazik, Hamad, Esen, and I mean amazing team they have. I think 90% plus of the employees are with them from day one. And just to explain the logic, right? This is why I believe we have the same DNA in terms of the lean approach we're using to grow the business, and executional, I would say, and operational capabilities team has will help us overcome all the challenges.
So you mentioned gross profitability, you mentioned burn rate, and that is, I think, one of the challenges, as you mentioned out, that a lot of startups face, especially in Pakistan. I think there was this whole venture capital coming in, and everybody had really high burn rates trying to attract customers, and I think Food Panda also went through that. And then when the funding dried up, those businesses folded. But when we look at Crave Mart, yes, you're right, it survived the winter. But with the expansion now, there will be a burn rate, and the unit economics might start off as negative. So how long will you be willing to support Crave Mart before it has to be profitable?
So if to look at this like more broadly, on a higher level, the whole discussion mostly will be around, we'll come to a single question, whether we want to optimize for profitability now and build a smaller but profitable business, or we want to invest and hit, I would say, the growth button, and only after optimize for profitability, right? And we need to take into account general effect on Indrive's, I would say, revenue profile, etc. What's our grocery business's impact will be, right? So looking through these lenses, I would say how we should look at dark store profitability. So dark store profitability usually is looked, I would say, through several lenses. This lens is called contribution margin. Let's say, what is contribution margin 1? This is how much money you get after deducting cost of goods and spoilage. So let's say, would be not exact numbers, approximations. Let's say you spend, you sold goods for $100, and let's say $30 is your contribution margin 1. 70% is your cost of goods and spoilage. You deduct it, right? So this is 30% you have. And out of this 30%, okay, the next phase of profitability, first you look at this, whether I'm earning anything from goods. Because some companies, you know, for the sake of growth, they might sell certain things without any profit.
Exactly.
And it's a problem, right?
Yeah.
So this is the first level you look at. The second level you look at is called, we call it contribution margin 2, which is the money you have after deducting all variable costs. What kind of variable costs do we have? We have delivery costs, the money we are paying to the rider. Then we have picking and packing costs, the money we are paying to the pickers and packers team inside the dark store. Then we have payment costs we pay to the provider, or even like the money we lose during operations, certain amount of money because you operate with COD. I mean, certain percentage of money gets stolen or lost in the process, etc. You put all these costs in a variable costs. And then you look, okay, am I profitable after variable costs? This is the second lens you look through. And usually you're not profitable after variable costs from day one, because you open a dark store, let's say you have 10 orders per day or 20 orders per day. It's impossible to be profitable after variable costs, because you have like a lot of pickers, couriers. I mean, you can't even cover, I would say, the fixed salaries, right? And usually it's like certain amount of orders, again, like for approximation, let's say 200 orders per day. This amount of orders you need to make to be profitable at contribution margin 2 level after variable costs. Then we look through the third lens. I don't know, I hope it's not boring. It's interesting.
I'm following it, yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad that we are going into the technicalities rather than just sticking to the fluff of it.
So contribution margin 3, this is a third lens. You look at the dark store profitability after all fixed costs for the dark store. fixed costs could be rent, utilities, fixed headcount, etc. This is, let's say, money you deduct first, like on variable costs. If you're profitable on variable costs, then you need a certain number of orders profitable after variable costs to cover the fixed costs. The good thing is rent and utilities are not super high in Pakistan. For example, it was an interesting observation for me because we have portfolio companies in different parts of the world. And let's say we have a portfolio company in Kazakhstan. We have dark stores in Kazakhstan, and let's say average rent in Kazakhstan for dark stores is around $4,000 per month, which is quite expensive, which is like slightly harder to make the business profitable after fixed costs, right? In Pakistan, as an example, average rent is around $1,000 per month, which is 4 times lower, let's say, than in Kazakhstan. Of course, it's balanced by an AOV, because AOV is slightly higher in Kazakhstan. AOV is average order value, how much on average customer pays per one order, right? So AOV usually is also slightly lower in Pakistan, but at the same time, with more volume, etc., you can cover the fixed costs. So this is set level we're looking at. And basically the general idea when you're looking at the dark store, and you look through these lenses on each separate dark store, right? So let's say you have 23 dark stores as an example. 10 of them are profitable, 12 of them are not profitable. So on these 10 which are profitable, you need to grow the profitability. How you grow it? You increase the volume of orders. There just need to be simply more orders per day, right? But at the same time, there is a limited, I would say, a certain limit dark store could not go over. For example, one dark store, again, this is an example, it's hard to go over $1,000 per day, right? Because operational processes will break, etc. If it goes more than 1,000, you split it into 2. So instead of one, you have 2 dark stores, 500 orders each, and then you can grow again, right? There are also levers you can optimize on through each lens. For example, on CM1, you can grow the margin. You can grow the margin through first, like volume-related gains. When you sell more, you can negotiate for better margins with suppliers. The second way is just to increase in your sales higher margin categories. Let's say introducing private labels, ready-to-eat meals, or higher margin categories like, I would say, some toys, cosmetics, and stuff. And so just talking about all this, right? Ideally, you look, as I said, like after variable costs, after fixed costs, and then your profit after fixed costs should grow at a certain level to be equal to your marketing costs. When it becomes equal to your marketing costs, you can consider yourself, I'm profitable after marketing costs, right? On CM4 level, contribution margin 4. When your profit on a dark store level reaches your headcount and like central costs, head office, equals your head office, you can become fully profitable as a company because you cover your marketing costs and you cover your fixed headcount. So this is like the general view on dark store profitability of this business. And as you look at this way, let's say Karachi. So how the ideal, I would say, picture would look like. We launch Karachi, we launch, I don't know, 15 dark stores day one. So in these dark stores, we gradually reach CM2 profitability at certain level, CM3 profitability after fixed costs, etc. And then we keep growing it, working, optimizing. There is a lot of tiny stuff, right? It's not like you have one silver bullet to make a dark store profitable. You do all minor improvements, increasing number of deliveries per courier per hour, optimizing the margin, optimizing the payment costs, everything, optimizing it, and then growing the profitability on a dark store level. And then you can say, okay, I'm profitable in Karachi on a dark store level, yes. And then you can say, am I profitable on a city level, including marketing? I'm spending on this specific city after marketing costs. And then like after you're profitable on a city level, okay, then you can say, now I can launch a new city, right? And you also calculate the potential. Do I have other areas which are underserved in Karachi where I can put my dark store to serve this specific neighborhood? Because dark stores, they operate in a certain, I would say, limited area to make the fast delivery available, right? So usually we're optimizing for the fast delivery. Crave right now delivering is, I would say, median in around 23, 24 minutes. I hope till the end of the year they will pass the threshold of 20 minutes, because as a learning we've seen from many other markets is that the faster you deliver, the better retention of your customers you get, the better satisfaction rate you get, the better frequency of the customers overall in the future. So speed is important, right? But it's also, I would say, the choice between you can offer limited assortment with a faster delivery, or you can offer, let's say, big assortment with slightly longer delivery. I think in the future we will try to do both. So to solve and optimize for both use cases. When you need something super fast, you like, I don't know,
baking a cake and out of baking powder.
Yes, accidentally came, etc. And sometimes if you're optimizing for a bigger purchase, for a bigger basket, we want also to offer this in the future.
So if I were to sum it up, understanding, when we look at profit, it's not like the normal way. So we have different levels of contribution margin. We have the first level, and we're just counting the cost of the goods. Now, when first quick commerce was launched in Pakistan, it was very, very new. I remember I would see different riders standing in supermarkets like Argos or Paradise or whatever, and they would be purchasing those goods to deliver to the customer, sometimes at a value lower than the purchase. So the contribution margin one wasn't even positive. So at that level, I think that is one of the reasons the burn rates were happening. Now, what you explain is that we have the cost of goods sold, then we have the riding and packing costs, then we have, is this dark store profitable, is this city profitable, is the marketing budget covered, so you have different layers of profitability that you look at. So my initial question was, at what level of contribution margin, if it persists to stay negative across the city, for example, so overall, including all the dark stores, some are profitable, some are not. The ones that are making losses are more than the ones that are making profit for a sustained time period, say for a year or two. At what point will Indrive say, you know what, this is not working?
So I think if it will not be working, we would not invest in it and believe in it.
Okay, so you really believe in Cremant.
So I think we invested in this because it was actually profitable on many levels already. So Crave has many dark stores already.
It has how many in Karachi?
It has 17 now.
17 right now. And do you plan to increase this number going forward?
Yes, of course. We plan to increase. There are like certain areas we also want to cover. We want to serve, so we will definitely increase. We're still working on like finalizing the number of dark stores, etc. But I think overall, country-wise, we'll aim at least maybe to double the number of dark stores till the end of the year on a city level, on a country level.
End of 2025, because we are the
till the end of 2026.
End of 2026.
Yeah. So we have quite ambitious plans for 2026. And as I said, we eventually invested in Crave because they had really good unit economics on CM1 level, on CM2 and CM3.
Okay,
because
so it's positive till CM3.
Yeah, they're positive on CM3 in many dark stores. As I said, like when you look, let's say, at company's revenue and company's net burn or EBITDA level, if it's negative, it doesn't.
EBITDA being earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you look at this level, sometimes you don't have a clear picture. Okay, it's unprofitable, but then you see, okay, how much company is burning, right? And how much usually companies, because we see different benchmarks globally, how much is like comfortable. And then when you deep dive, you need to separate, as I said, on a dark store level, which dark stores are performing well, which are not. Which are not performing well, you need to put some work, right? Understand what's going wrong, how to fix it, either it's number of orders or the margins or rent is too high. You're kind of trying to fix it. If you're trying to fix it for the next 3-4 months, if it's not working, it's okay, you close it or relocate it. Because with dark store, it's a good thing. When you relocate a dark store, you don't lose the inventory. You can just move it to another dark store. There are like maybe certain things you lose, like in terms of like I would say investment you made to set up the dark store, but overall inventory can be relocated. So this is how you usually operate. So when we were investing in Crave, we've seen that many dark stores already have very good economics, very good basket sizes, frequency, etc. Of course, we're not perfect, right? There are still a lot of things we need to work on, we need to fix, etc. But this is why we also joined as a team, because we have certain expertise in certain areas where we can help Crave, I would say, grow faster and accelerate them. So already right now companies have really good fundamentals. And as I said, we as Indrive, what we bring to the table, we as an investor, when we invested in Crave, we didn't bring only, I would say, financial resources part, which is very important in this type of business since it's capital intensive, right? Company just needs enough money for the working capital, for the launching new dark stores, for the marketing, etc.
Wow, that is definitely the hope. Thank you so much for the time. I think anybody who wants to really understand the quick commerce and grocery model business, this would be fantastic for them, and how to attract venture capitalists or corporate venture capitalists such as Indrive to companies such as Crave. Thank you so much for your time. This is a really interesting discussion.